on April the 4th, 1968, King was assassinated. There were meetings of student leaders to meet and think what to do, and it was decided to have a march to the president's house. The march started at the Circle, went down out to Pinecrest. Knight said hello, and then students were out. And then I think he invited some of the leaders in to talk. Lots of other students went in. Knight was clearly taken aback, sipping water and fiddling with a matchbook while he was in a balcony talking to the students in the room below. I actually have a vivid picture in my mind of the students beginning to sort of camp out on the ground floor, and Knight heading for the private family quarters, carrying basically a glass of milk and like a plate of cookies or something, and sort of heading off to bed, looking very, very tired. And I think it was either that night or the next morning that got basically hospitalized him and took him out of commission. Whereupon the students concluded, wait a minute, there's no point in being here if the president isn't here. And that's when return to campus began, and the idea coalesced to march to the Chapel Quad and begin a silent protest. Over the next couple of days, more and more students joined. I think the number may have been 800 to 1,000 at the highest point. It was very clear that it was going to be a silent vigil as long as you were on the quad, sitting, standing, unless there was an organized event. Pete Seeger and Joan Baez showed up, right, to lead protest songs. There was an ad in the paper, student demands, one of which was recognized in the union, one of which was that Knight should resign from Hope Valley Country Club, segregated country club where university events were held. That was the one he apparently was most vociferously against. I think it was sort of, presidents have always been in the country club or something like that. It's an important outreach. I mean, it wasn't just, oh no, I'm going to stay here because I believe in a segregated country club. I think it's better to stay in and work to change it than it is to quit. So negotiations developed between student leadership, the administration. Dining hall workers went on strike. Students were kind of scrambling for food. I remember that a number of volunteers were bringing food, particularly for the vigil participants. The Chicken Hut provided hundreds of meals. There was a lot of late night, early morning argument, discourse over the right course of action at that point. When was the right time? What was an acceptable agreement? What was caving in? And finally, I guess 4 days into it, there was an agreement in principle on accepting some of the demands and studying some of the others. And that, I think in lots of people's recollection, was the end of it. But it rolled on through the end of the academic year. Shortly before the end of classes, there was like a regathering of the vigil, a one-off protest, because there was discontent. The commitments to studying and or meeting the demands were seen to be falling short. But by that time, emotions had calmed, exams were looming, and other than sort of the most hardcore committed, I didn't have the same emotional energy of the event itself.